Satnam, welcome to today's practice. Yoga of awareness. One definition of this kind of yoga. The most simple, beautiful, spot on definition of our practice. Being aware of domains of ourselves where we probably need to improve, acknowledging the choice, being grateful for what we are, for what is, not necessarily for what we have, what we own. Being grateful for this moment, for this experience. And I want to pick this topic for today's practice as we are connected over the oceans, lands and oceans on this tiny, not so tiny, but island, Mediterranean island, Mediterranean air, Mediterranean water, earth. Connecting these elements and observing the ocean, the sea, the element of water, and the fluctuations, the waves of the sea hitting the land in a more or less powerful fashion. At the beach, more smoothly than with the rocks. Even more obvious on the Pacific coast. There can also be other movements very far out there, creating other waves, creating other currents. These parts of activity, sometimes those activities are calmer, and the nature of the ocean can also be seen as this endless humbleness. So as the sages observed and stay for centuries and thousands of years, and sometimes in our busy world, in between tasks and highways, freeways, not being present, not being with the ocean all the time, we are not aware of this huge teacher, the ocean. And as they say, as I said, as they say, the ocean is lower than the mountains. It's lower than the winds, attracting the rivers, becoming one with the rivers, with the drops, with the source of the river. And yet so impressive and so powerful. And I've chosen the realms of the ocean, of navigating the ocean as a field of teachings, as a field of learning. being the student of nature as often as possible. And sometimes we want to remind ourselves coming back to this great teacher, navigating these circumstances, frame release, being bored, being okay in boredom, which can be a great source of creativity. Being okay, surrendering is an active procedure. This is not something giving up. So, and I don't want to go too much into detail what kind of maneuvers and but as we know, also when walking, sometimes we get in this flow and this is also an activity, otherwise we fall down and we can be so grateful being healthy, having legs and feet, making us move in combination with gravity. At an older age, it's not necessarily of that ease as we can experience it when we are healthy. So let's be grateful for any state of being that we are confronted with. And what I was going to say on a boat, even if we are in this floating, no winds, high waves, but still no winds because it's this long wave created by the ocean, not by the winds, by the other force. Just floating can be dangerous. Being in ease, being okay with this boredom, with apparently no activity, and taking these tiny measures not to float some away. Sometimes it's just these tiny little maneuvers bringing us in this state of forwardness and okayness, being aware of not needing to get there as quick as possible. Like with the powerboat, just also fine sometimes, maybe. Getting from A to B, but getting from A to B with this external circumstances, having this journey of experience is of value. Also struggling when the wind's catching up, more activity is required. And after this activity, we can surrender and letting go and sail the waves. So many pictures and experiences we want to be aware of without judging it necessarily as bad and good. It's just experience. So I want us today, please, just being aware. The simplest, most beautiful, there are many beautiful definitions, definitely, but the simple definition of yoga, of awareness, being alive, being grateful, being okay with the moments, and at the same time creating the moments by intention, motivation, activity. Living in this ocean of experiences. One step at a time, one breath at a time. So please close your eyes. Be aware of this breath, inhaling and exhaling. This element air. Flowing and transporting, vice versa, transporting life force transporting oxygen. It's all a question of where the focus, where the awareness is put on, pointing us to. So let's be aware of this breath and prana, life force.